Welcome to BikeWale and to the road test review of the new ZONTES GK350, one of the newest sub 500cc motorcycles to enter the Indian market. And I'm going to tell you one thing right off the bat, that it's got a very attractive design and features that were never seen in the segment before this. In fact, we have a list of 5 things that really work in this motorcycle's favor. But it has its flaws, and we are going to list 2 things that work against it in this review. But before we go further, make sure that you have subscribed to our channel and clicked on the bell icon to get notified every time we upload a new video. Now, as I told you at the start of the video, this motorcycle has got a very likable design, and the neo-retro look has been emphasized with a round headlight at the front, and it gets a very neat styling element that spells out ZONTES right next to the headlight. Now, to me, it reminds me of the Google glasses that created quite a buzz a few years ago. But unlike the Google glasses, this styling element does not have any function, is just there for aesthetics. Then if you come behind into the cockpit, you've got a really nice and a flat handlebar. How does it affect the rider's triangle? I'm going to talk about it into the latter part of the review. Then you have this really beautiful dual tone fuel tank along with a blacked out top, and you would notice that there is no keyhole on the fuel tank. I'm going to get to that in just a bit, but then let's just complete the design elements out of the way. And you have this really nice scooped up seat through which you sit inside the motorcycle than on it, and there is a sufficient amount of space to move around when you are riding the motorcycle. And then at the back there is a sleek LED tail light, thus finishing the neo-retro look of this motorcycle. It is available in 3 color options in the Indian market. The list includes black and gold, black and blue, and silver and orange, and that's the one that you see on your screens. Do note that the paint options affect the ex-showroom prices, and the black and blue paint theme is the most affordable on this list. The black and gold and silver orange color options, on the other hand, retail at about 10,000 rupee premium over the black and blue paint theme. While the styling is very likable, the uneven design for spoke wheels may not work for everyone. The front uses a raised wall design where the spokes go straight down and then bend towards the rim. The rear, on the other hand, uses a cross-spoke design. In my opinion, the company should have used the cross-spoke design on both wheels for a symmetrical look. Nevertheless, these are shod in tubeless tires that are much easier to fix in case of a puncture. Now let's talk about the features, and the ZONTES GK350 has quite a few of them, the biggest of which is a keyless operation. And when we say keyless, we mean fully keyless operation. All you have to do is bring this key fob closer to the motorcycle and press the lock-unlock button on the right side of the switch gear to unlock the motorcycle. But that's not it. You can also open the fuel tank and the seat using just the switch gear. You don't have to use a physical key because there isn't one, there's just a key fob. Now do note that this thing runs on battery and eventually it will run out of juice, but you won't be stuck because unlocking the motorcycle isn't very complicated, and all you have to do is bring this key fob on a sensor underneath the motorcycle and press the unlock button to unlock this motorcycle. Apart from that, the ZONTES GK350 also has full LED lighting, so you have got these projector style LED headlights at the front, these sleek turn indicators, a sleek tail light at the back, and a color TFT display. It also has 2 ride modes, sports and eco, and as the name suggests, the sports modes will give you the complete access to all the power that the motorcycle has, while the eco will tone it down a little bit. The feature list also comprises backlit switches, ABS, 2 ride modes, and full LED lighting. The headlight does a decent job of illuminating the road after dark, but it isn't extraordinary. Then the color TFT display shows a plethora of information, and it can be viewed in 4 themes. Further, the rider can mirror the phone's screen on the TFT dashboard through a dedicated software. Now at the heart of this motorcycle is a 348cc single-cylinder liquid-cooled engine that makes 38.8 bhp of maximum power and 32.8 Newton meters of peak torque. How does this engine sound? Let me fire up the motorcycle for you to hear the exhaust note. But before we do that, let me tell you how am I going to do it. I'm going to start the motorcycle, keep it at idle, then take it close to the mid-range of the motorcycle, which is approximately 5000 rpm, and then take it closer to the red line, which is around 10,000 rpm. That's how it sounds at idle. That's around 5 to 6,000 rpm. And that's closer to its red line. The engine feels comfortable anywhere above 3000 rpm, and it builds momentum at a commendable pace in the mid and the higher revs. In fact, its peak power comes just shy of its 10,000 red line, which makes the experience more enjoyable. The 6-speed gearbox feels crisp while the clutch has a light feel, and all of this makes life easier on board of the GK350. What also makes life more convenient is the agile handling and the low seat height. The seat height of 795 mm makes the ZONTES GK350 accessible to a wide range of riders, and it is remarkably easy to swing a leg over and sit on this motorcycle. Now at 5 feet 10 inches tall, I can place both my feet flat on the ground with a comfortable bend on my knee. The handlebar is tall enough to give you an upright rider's triangle, while the neutrally set foot pegs add a hint of sportiness to the overall package. Now you may think that with the hardware that this motorcycle has, such as the spoke wheels or these tall set exhausts, that you can take this motorcycle off-roading like a typical scrambler, but that is not the case, because the handlebar isn't tall enough, and if I stand on the foot pegs, I have to really bend down to reach it. Apart from that, the rubber coated foot pegs don't really scream off-road. So if you are planning to take this motorcycle off-roading, we would recommend getting a pair of handlebar risers and aftermarket foot pegs that would make it a little more rugged and off-road friendly. The hardware also comes handy when riding aggressively, and the disc brakes pack a good amount of initial bite. The cover on the front disc, however, affects the cooling of the front brake, and there is a noticeable fade in the feedback after a while. Then the ABS at the back kicks in way too soon, and it can get annoying at times. The suspension setup that includes upside down front forks and a rear monoshock feel firm, and the tuning is ideal for aggressive riding. Yet it isn't too stiff, and the setup irons out most of the undulations efficiently. It isn't very tiring while riding in bumper-to-bumper traffic as well, and the short turning radius and a light clutch make life easy on board. So those were the 5 good things about the ZONTES GK350, but it's time to tell you 2 negatives that work against this motorcycle. And first up are the refinement levels. There are a lot of vibrations that are evident from the handlebar and the foot pegs from as low as 4.5 to 5000 rpm, and that's a shame because the motorcycle cruises at highway speeds say around 80 to 100 kilometers per hour at 5 to 6000 rpm, and a major chunk of the power lies into the higher rev band of the motor. So as the motor climbs up the rev band, the vibrations become just more and more evident, and they are so bad to an extent that the view in the rear view mirrors gets distorted when you are riding it into the higher rev band. And the second negative is its pricing, because at 3.47 lakh rupees for this particular paint option, the ZONTES GK350 is expensive than the KTM 390 Duke and almost as expensive as the Royal Enfield 650 Twins. Secondly, the dealer network isn't as comprehensive as the competition, and there are very few dealerships of the ZONTES across India, which will make servicing a bit of a task. So, should you buy the ZONTES GK350? Let's look back at the positives. It's an attractive looking motorcycle, it has a lot of features, a very enjoyable motor and an engaging ride and handling department. But on the downside, it is expensive and the dealer network is scarce. And when you compare that with the rivals such as the KTM 390 Duke or the BMW G310R, this motorcycle does not come across as a very value for money proposition. But if you can overlook these parameters, there is nothing like this in the Indian market right now, and you should definitely consider this motorcycle.